If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, it's free. Second, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else podcasts are heard. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Stories, the hustle, the grind, the push, the pain, the time, love, the sweat, the tears, goes beyond the lights, the stage, the fame, and the message stays the same. You're listening to the Indie Takeover.
This is K. Ross, and you're listening to the Indie Takeover.
I always thought that I was good enough, but I never thought that I would make it here. I always felt like I was left behind. When I was left behind, it didn't show no fear. I always thought that the friends that I had wouldn't love me if I didn't have nothing to give. If I didn't have nothing to give. If I didn't have nothing to give. You are my answer, you are my way. You help me make it the brighter day. You keep me clean and I don't stray. You are the reason why I think you're the reason why I know. When things are going crazy for me, you keep me down, you keep it lazy for me. Yeah, when I feel like I am crazy on me, you keep me like when things are going crazy for me. Yeah, you keep it down, you keep it lazy for me. Yeah, when I feel like I am crazy, homie. Yeah, you keep me down. I don't wanna be that bad. That's why when I mess up, I'm here doing everything that I can. That's why when I mess up, can't go right back to it. Better see what you're doing, cause I get you out and I'll bring you out no matter how you go through it. But let me tell you what happened to me. I used to be living in sin and he pulled me out and over and over and over again. I messed up, time lapse, I'm ashamed to say that yes, me, I played on your grace, but you got me when things are going crazy for me. You keep me down, you keep it lazy for me. Yeah, when I feel like I am crazy, homie, you keep me when things are going crazy for me. Yeah, you keep it down, you keep it lazy for me. Yeah, when I feel like I am crazy, homie. Yeah, you keep me down. I don't wanna be that man. When I mess up, when I'm doing everything I can. Yeah, cause I hear you and I'm trying the best I can. And I know you want me to be a better man.
Welcome to the Indie Takeover with your host, Jeremy Gibson. I am joined by the Bay Area's own gospel heartthrob himself. I just made that name up for him because I couldn't think of anything else that fits him. But no, I really am elated to have our special guest for today. He is known all over as K. Ross. I know him as Chris, but for those that have never heard of him or just being introduced to his ministry, you heard him on the song that we just opened up with. But Chris, I want you to introduce yourself to the world. Tell them who you are, where you're from, what you do, and yeah, go ahead.
So, my name is K. Ross. I'm from Vallejo, California. I started as a musician. Now I'm a singer, producer / writer. I just love music. I love the music ministry. I love everything about being able to show and interpret how you feel through sounds and through different wording. So I fell in love with producing and writing, and I'm just here to just spread the love of God in the way that He gave me to do it.
Awesome. Now, how long have you been doing what you do? Because I know you didn't start off singing or being an artist. You started off. You come from an extremely musical family. So how did you make that transition from? Well, let's start off. What was the beginning? What introduced you to music?
Well, my aunts actually are the ones that like introduced me to actually sing, recording, and seeing people in the studio. I didn't really understand it much when I saw it, but my family, my aunts are the Wynn sisters, and they started singing and producing with Carl Wheeler and different individuals like that. I just grew up seeing that, so it made me fall in love with music itself. So I actually sat down and started playing the bass, and from the bass, my dad became a pastor, and we just didn't have a musician at the time because he was the musician. And so I ended up making my way from the bass to the organ, and to where I'd start playing, and now from the organ to the keys, I play keys. We have another organist now, but it started there. It started with just playing music,
right,
and learning how to play music.
Who would you say other than your family, who sings? Who's everybody in your family can sing? But who would you say outside of your immediate circle serves as influences to what you do?
I have quite a few actually, and it took me a minute to actually realize these influences. But one of the first ones, of course, was the late Kevin Archie. He actually is the person that taught me how to write music. He sat me down and told me about writing and about writing your verses and writing your courses and how you want your verses to be irregular from the music. So it was a lot of stuff he gave me that I didn't really understand until I started writing, seriously on my own. Then as far as sound wise, Doobie Powell has always been an influence, and Marley, when he came out, his first album was an influence as well, as to just the self-expression and being different and not being tied to what people think a gospel or a Christian artist should be.
Right.
It's just, still having that message, but presenting it the way you want to present it. So that was actually a big influence of mine. Another person that I actually listened to his music and one of his CDs, I know every song on the CD, believe it or not, was Demetrius Tofree. That Jesus is my refuge. That song was one of my absolute favorites, especially growing up. Like, I loved it, so it's a lot of people that played a lot of different points in my musical growth, and those are just a few of them.
And so I would say your sound now has a very unique flair to it, because I mean, you can sing, you know music, you know how to arrange, and we'll get into that a little later, all that you do, because it's not just limited to music. But in what you do, if there was someone that asked you, okay, well, Chris, what is the style of your music? Because I mean, to me, it's one of the most unique sounds that we have in the Bay. I mean, you're a definitive artist, which I think is, kudos to you for standing out and just still being authentically who you are. But what would you describe your style of music as?
It's absolutely eclectic because it pulls from a lot of different places. I grew up Church of God in Christ, in church, so 90% of the music I played was all church music. So that's my foundation. But outside of that being my foundation, I love the way that the neo soul chords feel. I love the way the people express themselves over different type of chordings, and so it's I would say more or less eclectic. And it's real funny because I was at a event and someone said to me something about being an artist and how they thought I was an authentic artist. And it's funny because the people feeling like I'm an artist, I'm literally just being myself. Like when I get up, it's not a persona, you know what I mean? It's not me trying to, and I feel like that's what a lot of people lose themselves in, trying to be what they feel like they should look like versus being themselves. You always come off more authentic when you're just being you.
Right.
Because nobody can be you better than you can be you, you know? So I'm not trying to be like anyone, you know, and it took me a while to get comfortable in my skin and say, I'm just going to do this. It might not be for everybody. It might be for everybody, but regardless of the fact, I'm just going to do me, you know, and be comfortable in my own skin. And I think that's a big part of it.
Absolutely. So let's take a quick break, but I do want to ask you some questions about what you just shared as far as knowing who you are and getting comfortable in your skin. But before we go there, I want to play another song of yours, See Your Face. If you want to set it up, tell us kind of where the inspiration for it came from, what it means to you, all of that. Go ahead.
This song is just simply talking about, you know, we're looking at the times right now. I just want to, you know, at the end of the day, we do all of this to see God's face in peace. And so this song is just a homage to the day that we get to see God and see him say, well done, you know. And so that's what this song is a homage to. And I hope you guys enjoy it and appreciate the song.
Absolutely. This is See Your Face by K. Ross on freedomradio.com.
I don't wanna lose my breath. I wanna make sure you can hear it. Every time I take a step, I feel your presence, know you're near it. Feels like a daydream in my head, laying in my bed. I know that I'm less than perfect, so this to you I swear. I'm working on me night and day, so I can see your face. See your face. I wanna see it. I wanna see it. I wanna see it. Your face, your face, your face. Wanna see it, want you, your face, your face, your face. I wanna see it. I wanna see it. I don't wanna lose control, cause I know that you are steering. And everything I tell you now, I wanna make sure you are hearing me loud and clear. Sometimes I wanna sit down, sometimes I wanna quit. Then I hear that small voice telling me not to give in, saying sometimes it's gonna get hard and sometimes you're gonna do wrong. But hold on to what I put in you so you can hear that song singing. I wanna see it. I wanna see it. Your face, your face, your face. Wanna see it, want you, your face, your face, your face. I wanna see it. I wanna see it. Your face, your face, your face. Wanna see it, want you, your face, your face, your face, your face.
And we are back at the Indie Takeover here with K. Ross himself from Vallejo, California, sharing really how he has become himself in his music in his artistry. And so before we went on the music break, I was asking Chris, or I wanted to ask Chris, how has that journey been in finding who you are as an artist? You're still young, you still, I consider most of us still young, but you're a father, you're a husband, you have so many experiences, but still in your artistry, how has all of that helped develop you into who you are today, who we hear in the music, who we see on stage? How has that journey been?
It's been painful. I feel like growing pains come,
Absolutely.
It's been enlightening as well, but for the most part, just understanding that, everything is not for you. Every place is not for you. There's some events you can't do,
right?
And you have to be comfortable in understanding that sometimes your name's not going to get called, and you can't take it personal. You got to really look at what you bring to the table, and sometimes what you have at that moment is not what people need, and I've gotten really comfortable in turning down opportunities that some may feel are great, because I felt like at the time I wasn't ready for it.
Right.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, so I'm like, when learning, I've become a student of music. I sit down, I learn, especially when it comes to the producing and the production and the music business side of things. I actually learn. Yeah. I don't leave it to someone else to know. Someone else may know that I have in place to take care of those things, but I want to know and understand what's going on as well.
Right.
So, you have somebody that handles that business, but on top of them handling that business, I still understand that part of the business. So it's been a lot of hard work just getting to the points where you can understand these things and know how they go, know how they're supposed to go, how things are supposed, so it's just been a journey in itself, and figuring that out and being comfortable in understanding you're not going to be for everybody.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Everything it's not going to work. That's why we have so many different styles of Christian/gospel music, because, you don't always want to hear, praise the Lord, everybody, but then you don't always want to hear shackles, you know what I mean? It's right. Like, but with that, there's a time for all of those different sounds, and then understanding that you don't have to be jealous of the people around you, because when you look at your CDs and your CD collection, you don't just have one artist's record,
right?
You have multiple, so it's possible for people to be fans and supporters of more than one artist. So you can't take ownership of people and feel like those are my fans or these are my supporters. No, it's nothing wrong with the same people that support you supporting other artists, and you have to be comfortable with that and securing yourself enough to know that as long as you're putting out good content and it's given by God, that you'll be all right.
Absolutely. You said a few things that I think are key for independent artists, that, not just from the Bay, just from all over, that have to realize that it's important to educate yourself and to be a student and to forever, learn that this music thing is forever progressing,
Absolutely.
And what, even the sounds that we have now, they come from, what we consider contemporary now at one point may be traditional,
Absolutely.
And I what I love about just those that kind of have experienced, the church world, the, grown up as PKs or what have you, but still have exposure to, maybe just secular music or the secular influence of what, music sounds like, but don't stray away from, like you said, the message, So I want to ask you this, because what you do doesn't just, isn't just restricted to music. You are a writer. You're a playwright. And I don't know if everybody knows that, but you do a majority of things. So in your creativity, what have you done? What do you aspire to do? Like, where can we find you on just an average day in your creativity? Are you always just, creating something? What are, what's in the works for you?
I mean, I feel like throughout my day, I think we all get ideas. you know, that point us in the direction of where our destiny is or where we're supposed to be headed. And sometimes we ignore them, whether they're dreams or you're writing, you just get a thought. Walking around down the street, you just get a thought. What I've started to practice doing is when I hear something that could be an idea, even if it's a song lyric or if it's a play title, or I take notes throughout my day. I'll just be working on something. Somebody will say something to me that sparks an idea.
Right.
And with them sparking that idea, I write it down immediately. I don't wait. I don't say I'll deal with it when I get home. I write it down immediately because, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're going to forget.
Right.
You know, and so I try to make sure I do that. And then I keep in mind, you know, in the Bible, the Bible says the man with the 5 gifts, he used all 5 of them. God gave him 5 more. You know, the 4, he used all 4. God gave him 4 more. So you have to think of it like that. If you use what he's giving you, you know, writing is not just secluded to music. You know what I mean? So that's where the plays come from, and you know, and that's where you know, the different songs and placements have come from just being open to what's inside you and staying focused on what's in you.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of people are wondering where they should go. Where's my destiny? Where am I supposed to be headed? And a lot of times God is constantly dropping those nuggets in your head. But if you're not paying attention, and if you're not even keeping a prayer life or, you know, staying connected with God, you won't understand it. You won't hear him, and you'll be on a whole nother track somewhere different. Right. You know, headed somewhere else with all of these no's, no, and you're trying to figure out why, and it's because that's not the area God sent you to go. Right. You know, you have to be, you know, understanding to that and be willing to go where he needs you to be at, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to, before we go on a break, I want to ask you, so do you have any plays coming up? I'll ask you again, but just anxious to see, because I think you're one of few individuals in this area that I think has just has the push to do whatever it is your hands find to do. And that sounds churchy, but I feel like you do literally, like you said, you do what comes to your mind and what God puts on your heart. And I think that should be a huge encouragement to whoever is listening, that the only person standing in our way is ourselves most of the time, you know?
Be fearless.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You're the one that has to sleep with those thoughts in your head at nighttime when you didn't do something. Right. You know what I mean? Forget what everybody thinks. People can always think they're going to think you're going to make it, or they're going to think you're going to fail. But neither one of those thoughts has any impression on what you're doing. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So be fearless. Just go for it. Absolutely.
Well, I want to take another music break and listen to one of your other songs, "Keep Me." Feel free, set it up how you will, and yeah.
Okay, this song simply comes from a time in my life where, you know, it's not always easy to do what's right, and this is one of those times where I was talking to God, and I said, Lord, I just need you to keep me in your will, you know, keep me in your way, keep me on your mind. You know, so it's almost like a triple entendre. You know, the song means so many different things, and so I want you to take from it what you will, and you can make it your prayer as well. So I hope you guys enjoy the song.
Awesome. This is "Keep Me" on the Indie Takeover.
Said you better wake up. I felt I didn't have nothing and I had nobody. Whoa. Said you better wake up. I'm just trying to do right, and I'm faced with decisions, trying to figure out, where do I go, who do I trust, who do I know? Sometimes I stand here oh so confused, cause I don't know if I'm being loved, I used to put my guard up, so you can't touch me like you would. I know that's why my heart's tough, and I need break my walls down. You found me in my hurt and pain, and now I know my soul's found. And Lord, that's why your love's on top for real. Yeah. in my days, I was lost. But it felt so good to know that he had me and paid my cost. But no, I didn't deserve it. Didn't deserve it. When I remember how I was, and he kept me anyway. Oh, sweet. Keep me, yeah. Keep me. Keep me safe from harm. Keep me in your love. Keep me. Oh, please, keep me. Please, keep
We're back at the Indie Takeover with K. Ross himself, and you're hearing his music, you're hearing his message, you're hearing all that really God has given him, and he is a unique individual in his own right and giving God really everything that God has placed in. And that's really what we're doing, is just giving it back to him, presenting what he's placed in us,
Absolutely.
and doing it to the fullest. So thank you for being obedient to that. In this last portion of our interview, I want to quickly just address just kind of your perspective on the music industry as an independent artist that is, you've been around music for so long, but now being in it as far as the industry and kind of seeing some things, what have you learned, or what are things that you feel would encourage others, or would good advice to share from your experience in building even your brand, your artistry? What would you want to let other artists, up and coming artists, young people that want to be artists, those that are already artists that could stand some change or some revamping of their work, what would you say you've learned?
I've learned that and I'll reiterate this, is you are your brand.
Absolutely.
And when I say you, I mean not the person that you want to be, but the person that you are. And so find out who you are, because that's something you can keep up. That's something you can maintain when it's truly you. So be yourself, figure out who you are. You know what I mean? Don't try to brand yourself as something you can't keep up.
Right.
Because people will look for that, from the clothing all the way to the sound, all the way to, if you brand yourself as something, when people see you in a supermarket, you want them to see the same person that they hear, when they listen to the music, or the same person they see when they see you on stage. Not saying you have to be all dressed up, but your for lack of better words, your swag should match everywhere you go.
Consistency.
Absolute consistency in putting yourself out there. Numbers don't always equate success.
Right.
And you have to understand that it's not about 30,000 people seeing your video or hearing your song. It's about the one right person seeing your video or hearing your song.
Absolutely.
You know, so don't equate your success to the amount of followers you have or the amount of views you have on a video. All it takes is one person that actually has some influence or some pull to see you and actually recognize what you're doing. So you want to be sharp. And in this day and age with the phones and technology, you pretty much, when you put something out, you have control over your content that you put out.
Right.
So make sure it's your best.
Absolutely.
You know, don't just put anything out there. Your Facebooks, your Instagrams, those are all business cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to view it like that. You have to view them like anybody can just come on this page
and see
what's going on. And they absolutely do.
Right.
They absolutely do. And when they do, if you don't seem ready on that, they're not going to pay attention to anything else.
Right.
If you're an artist, get rid of the private pages. It doesn't make any sense.
None.
You know, you want as much exposure as you possibly can have. If you have to create a second page for yourself, do that. But as far as your artist stuff, make yourself as accessible as possible. From your name to all that. The reason I go by K Ross is because my name is spelled with a K. It's Christopher with a K.
Mm-hmm.
If I just went by Chris Ross, 90% of people will put in CHRISROSS.
Right.
You know, so it's not about me trying to be grand or big. It's just K Ross. You can't really mess it up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's easy to find. You know, so that, you know, make sure when you're branding yourself and when you're trying to put yourself together, use things that people will be able to find you. You know, if you're not ready to do something, don't do it. If you're ready, go for it.
Right.
But whatever you do, go all the way out. Do it, you know, to the best of your ability and the best way you can. You know, I turned down an opportunity at the Stellars the first year I went because I didn't have a band and I wanted to sing with a band.
Right.
And I was, you know, thinking in my head after I did it, like, I'll probably never get an opportunity like that again. And the next year I went with the band, I got the opportunity again. You know, so it's just like God will always have, you know, a ram in the bush for you if you're doing what He wants you to do, and you hold true. Absolutely. And stay true to yourself.
Right.
You know?
That all of that is incredible and absolutely on point advice. I can't stress that enough. So just hearing you share it, I think social media in its entirety has its good and bad points, and you have to learn how to navigate it and make it work for you. You know,
absolutely.
And that's just for individuals, as far as, you know, individuals and artists that are, you know, trying to promote their music or their brand. You know, you just have to be wise. You know, and so I want to just really quick. What would you say the point where you realized who you were, or when you said, okay, this is who K Ross is. This is what K Ross's music or message is all about. When was that for you?
It was after doing some rebuilding, and I did a showcase. Like when I first started, you know, getting things together, I did a showcase, and I literally crashed and burned at the showcase. It was horrible. And I was so devastated. I was like, I'm not doing music anymore. I'm over it. I was quite dramatic if I think about it from, you know, now. But I was like over it. And when I went back to the drawing board, I literally tore everything down and started over. I just started making music, you know, doing things that I like to do, and it became fun at that point.
Right.
When there was no pressure.
Yeah.
And I realized that as long as there's no pressure, when there's no pressure, what you enjoy doing, you know, and how you love it. When there is pressure, you'll still love doing that thing.
Yes.
And once I realized it wasn't fun anymore, that's when I realized it wasn't me. And now at the point I'm at now, it's I still enjoy it. And I understand the business side of things, writing and getting royalties, all that kind of stuff is nice. But if you do music for the money, you're doing music for the wrong reason, because you'll pay more for years before you'll get it back.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're going to invest in yourself for years before someone says, wow, I want you to do this for me for a living.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so if you're doing it for the money, and I know that sounds so cliche, but it's the absolute truth, because you're going to have to invest in yourself. You know, so
without a doubt.
Yeah. So if you're doing it for the money, if you don't want to pay for a quality photo shoot, if you have an issue with that, if you have an issue with with paying for actual production or mixing, mastering, if you have an issue paying for studio time, if you have an issue, paying to get somebody to actually that has a good ear to hear your music or critique your writing, you're in it for the wrong reasons, because you're
Right.
going to need that. You're going to need that type of guidance to perfect your craft. And it's not easy all the time to hear it. I made up my mind. I'm not married to my music anymore.
Right.
So if I write it and somebody says, that doesn't really sound good, it doesn't hurt my feelings, it doesn't make me feel bad.
Yeah.
If I send it off and the other producer's like, man, that vocal right there, you got to fix that, it doesn't bother me. I just do it.
Right.
And so you got to get some tough
That's
skin
good.
with that stuff too. Don't marry your music.
Right.
Don't marry it.
That is great advice. So I know you have to go, but I do this with every guest that I have. I'm just going to ask you a few random questions, and then we'll wrap it up. But
Okay.
So, if you had to make the decision to choose between 4 of these superpowers, what would you choose? To be invisible, to fly, to read minds. Can't even think of the third one I had. I went off the top of my head and messed up.
That was 3. Invisible, fly.
It's supposed to be
read
4.
I know,
Visible,
there's one
fly, read minds. Oh, and teleport. That's the other one. Which one would you choose?
I'd be torn at this point between teleportation and reading minds.
Okay.
Because reading minds, I feel like I could use that to my benefit when it comes to what I do. Teleportation, I could also use that to my benefit. You ain't got to pay for no flight, no plane tickets.
Right.
Just
But
show up.
if everybody else ain't got it, then you got to wait till they get there
Hey, but I'll be there
for free.
for free.
Okay. If you had to choose or pick an individual to collaborate with, whether living or dead, who would it be?
Absolutely, hands down, Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, the king of pop.
Period.
Okay. And last question. If you had to remake any Disney song, and I know you've done some before, but if you had to remake any Disney song, what would it be?
I'd have to say probably the Lion King song. The intro song to the Lion King.
Circle of Life.
Circle of Life that's like one of my childhood. It took the cake, So that's
Absolutely,
something.
hands down.
That movie had kids crying.
Yeah.
So absolutely, Circle of Life. I love that song.
Yeah. So, K Ross, I'm gonna call you Chris because that's just not normal for me to say K Ross. But Chris, I thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom and your knowledge and your experience here at the Indie Takeover. I want to give you the opportunity to share with those listening how they can reach out to you, how they can connect with your ministry, with your artistry, how we can follow you on social media, if they want to bring you to their cities or buy your albums. How can they do that?
Okay, first of all, if you'd like to book me or have me at any events, you can send me an email to bookingkross@gmail.com. Also, if you want to follow me, follow my journey, you can follow my Instagram at TheRealKRoss. My Facebook page is facebook.com/KRossMusic. Also, I have a Snapchat that whenever we do shows or have fun, we always document that. That's K-Ross Music as well. You can feel free to contact me, follow me. I'm not a robot. I do respond. I do talk. I do laugh, so, it should be a fun journey, and I love to see you guys along the way.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, I want to end with one of my favorite songs, Don't Let Me Go, Set It Up How You Will, and we are out at the Indie Takeover.
This song is simply just talking about no matter how hard things get in your life, remember not to let go. Because God is there and God won't put more on you than you can bear. I know that's not a scripture, but that is shown to be the truth for me. And I'm sure that that will be the truth for you as well. And so go ahead and listen to this song and remember not to let go.
Whoa. 'cause I can see it in your eyes. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you wanna quit and say, hey, this is it. But I'm here to encourage you. Don't give up, don't give up. So keep your head on straight and your eyes looking forward. You keep on marching till you reach that end. I'm here to let you know, yeah, yeah. No matter how hard it gets, don't you let go. It's time to dust off your shoulders and get them moving. And don't let nobody get you down, yeah. 'Cause there's peace in the midst of the storm, and it'll keep you safe from harm, yeah. Why don't you let me show you how? Gotta keep your head on straight and your eyes looking forward. You keep on marching till you reach that end. I'm here to let you know. No matter how hard it gets, don't you let go. Don't let go. We've been do it for a night, but in the morning comes some joy. Don't throw in the towel. You gotta keep holding on. I don't care how hard it looks. You gotta keep pressing forward. No matter how hard it gets, just don't you let go. No matter how hard it gets, just don't you let go. Now I've come too far, just to throw in the towel. And I seek guidance, just to show me how. Through the danger scenes, in my victory, how he's always there. And now I see